This video is sponsored by Battle Systems. So I've been meaning to get some stuff on Battle Systems for a while now, mostly so I can make a really cool Mordheim and Frostgrave gaming board. And then one day they just reached out and said, "You love D&D? Yeah? Fantasy and role-playing in dungeons, right?" "Yeah, sure I do. I love role-playing in dungeons." "Why?" "Well, we've got this cool new game called Maladum. It's right up your street. Everything comes in the box. Board, tokens, minis, dungeon scenery, cool items that you can put in chests and crates. And you have a special adventure bag that you delve in and you can pull out items when you're searching." So what do you think? You're in? Yes, I am totally in. You had me at dungeon scenery and treasure tokens. Send me everything. And that is pretty much what they did. So Maladum, is it any good? Well, spoilers, I'm not going to keep you on tenterhooks. Yeah, it's mega. And this is why. Classic box opening. So beautiful artwork on the front. Obviously got to get in that old shrink wrap. Tear that off. Always satisfying. As a nice satisfying lift off with the lid as well. What I wasn't expecting was to be presented with neoprene mat. First of all, I was expecting like paper or like card sections or something like that. But no, good quality neoprene mat. That was my first sort of emotional moment. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Then we've got this baggie here. This is for your treasure tokens. Again, another good quality bag. Lots of quality instantly I'm getting from this set. There's this tray of stuff all taped in, so obviously you need to remove all that tape. Tricky sometimes, easy said than done. Little trackers and dashboards for putting your character sheets on and stuff. We'll come to those more in a bit. Some NPC ones as well, so they're slightly smaller. And then just a whole swathe of card. So you got like some, I think these are for like spells or spell disciplines. And then these are a deck of event cards. I think there's about 50 there, if I remember rightly. And yep, here we have a dry white marker. I love a dry white marker, very handy. That will come in play later on. But yeah, very nice. And then if you're not familiar with Battle Systems, these are the clips to hold things in place. So you get a whole bag of those, which is great. And then there's another tray of stuff. Oh my God, there's so much stuff. So much stuff. So we've got range rulers for shooting and magic, as you can tell by the picture. Long range and short range. Nice and simple. These I wasn't sure what they were for initially, but later on I'll discover that they're designed so you can set a little grid system up inside your box and put your scenery in when it's built. Clever. Baggies, very useful. And then we've got a tray full of plastic, so lots of miniatures. If you're familiar with like Hero Quest, it feels very much like that. You've got nice moulded sections for them all to go in. Got a bag of dice. The quality of the figures are great. The artwork that you'll see in the books, they're all painted by Angel Duraldas, so very nicely done. And then we've got a whole host of paper and card. So let's have a look what we got here. Let's just move all this stuff out of the way. I'll get out of the way you. That is your campaign book, so, well, it's for campaigns. Read this first. Yeah, I recommend that, definitely. Little tutorial in there as well to get you started. Tells you what everything is as well, like all the different cards and stuff. And then the rule book, lots of rules, but not as intimidating as I was expecting. Normally big thick rule books do scare me, but this is very well paced. So yeah, big fan of that, and lots of nice artwork in there. And then the pièce de résistance, or the card. So you got some cool like wells and crucibles and little bits and bobs here. And then you get a couple of sheets of this, which got crates, weapons racks, chests, tombs. You get a couple of those. And then you get just a whole load of wall sections, which is really good. Some that have like voids in them, with sconces. Nice, solid walls. Quite a few of them. There's 3 sheets of that. They've got doors. They've got a half-cut element to it as well, so the door's like slightly open, which is nice. So you got your adventure cards, you got your class cards, just lots of little tokens there as well. There's an awful lot, really. Some NPC and baddies and wandering beasts, and some treasure items there on the side. All double-sided, very beautiful. And then this is, I just love this. This is your items that you'll pick up in the game. So you've got like rare, common, uncommon, some stuff for the tutorial at the top there, and then just loads of tokens. Who doesn't love tokens? So this is the Read Me First book. It tells you everything about all the different items inside the box set. Goes through some of the basics, and of course then teaches you the first few rounds of the game as well. So you have to like set up a little setup and then play a couple of rounds with a couple of characters, which is super smart, like a tutorial in a video game. So a big fan of that. Yeah, so far hugely impressed. I've never done an unboxing, but this is great. Right, time to build some stuff. So I'm going to start off with the Crucible. I thought I'd just work my way through some of these bits. So just popping everything out off the card sheet. I mean, you could break everything out, but they're all labelled on the actual card itself as well, what they are. So probably worth just doing one build at a time. Probably don't get too carried away. So that's what I did. There are some things that are mixed in with others, so like there's parts of the Crucible that are mixed in with the well. I didn't discover that until later on, which you'll find. But yeah, just getting all those little voids popped out. Now, when I was building these, I used the rulebook because it's got loads of pictures of the finished items in there, which is great. So I'll just use those as reference. However, there will be some videos that Battle Systems will do to support the builds anyway. But yeah, I just use the pictures and use that as a guide. It's very self-explanatory, to be honest. So next up is going to be the Arcanist's desk. So just going to pop out those books to start off with. I like books, little book covers, very nice. Just pop them all out. So you've got a little open book as well, which is quite cool. And there's just things like the desk top, sides, etc. Like I said, it's a lot easier just to do one build at a time. And these have little slot-in sections, so really straightforward. Again, if you're familiar with Battle System stuff, this won't be anything new to you. I guess like a lot of card builds. But yeah, it's just slotted so well. It's really, really good. And then you get like the bit for the base that goes in, which helps kind of like keep it taut, keep it in place. I'm not quite sure those two. I don't know if one was for the top because you've got the lid that goes on anyway. So maybe I screwed that up. I don't know. Maybe I need to check the actual artwork to make sure I've not done something wrong. But yeah, just scary little books, piles of books, because he's been busy studying about magics and evils. So yeah, just placing those on felt quite satisfying. Next up is the well. You'll also notice here there's a ringlet for the Crucible. I only noticed this later on, so I just needed to put that round the actual Crucible itself, which is really straightforward. And then a little thing for the Arcanist desk as well. But yeah, the well's just a couple of bits. Very similar to how the Crucible was built, really. You've got like a flat bit that kind of bends round into a circle shape, and then just a couple of bits like flat flagstones, I guess, that you just place on top of each other. Just looks pretty sweet, really. Oh yes, the ringlet. I forgot about that. Let's add that. Let's add that now. So yeah, back to the well. So yep, just get that flat piece because you've got those little sections that are half cuts. You can just bend it around to a nice little kind of circle. And then once you've done that, just place it in. And then when you add the circle of water, it should kind of hold it all in place. Like so. Fairly straightforward, nice and easy. These are quite easy builds actually to ease me into the process of building the card. Especially if you've not done anything like this before, this is a good start, just using these sheets to get you into it. And then some swing trap. These are like some weird blade traps as well. I wasn't quite sure at first what they were, but it actually says on the sheet what they are. But yeah, I was like, what are they for? Like things you hold muskets with. But you can see they've got like little hooks these things have, so you can just stick them onto like a wall section like so. I just did that as an example. Then we've got a pillar. So this sheet is a duplicate of 2, so you'll get 2 pillars as well as 2 of everything else on there. Pop out those sconces. Sometimes if you're not careful, I try and push it one way and push another, because you don't want to tear any of that actual beautiful printed paper and card. That is a danger if you're not careful, if you're a bit too heavy-handed, so do be mindful when you're doing the old popping out. But yeah, what I do like as well is no space is wasted. So you add like the top of like the pillar in there, and then you just got some voids that you punch out. Do you like punching those voids out? There's a few like little brick bits here, like some bits of brickwork that you kind of push out. You could use those as scatter if you really wanted to, but there's not many, so it kind of seems pointless really, but they're there if you need them. So yeah, just keep pop it. Yeah, these are the ones I'm on about. They kind of flew off in different directions, to be honest. I actually forgot this large long piece existed when I was doing my custom build later on. It was hidden at the bottom. More sconces. Love a good sconce. The other cool thing about sconces as well is you can interact with them in the game, so you can take torches from them, but also set alight your arrows as well, so you get burning arrows, which is mega. And then 3 sheets of wall sections, so just popping all of those boys out. It's quite a lot. You get some other things on there, like some chairs as well, which was kind of quite cool. And then some like little bits that jut out of the wall sections. Just going to quickly build a chair, actually. Let's build a chair. They're very straightforward, 3 parts. You don't even need instructions really. You kind of just look at it and go, oh yeah, that's how it goes together. So I built all 3 of those because you get 3, because 3 sheets, duplicate sheets. And I thought I'd have a little business meeting for the Arcanist and his thralls. Just going to discuss their wages and have an appraisal. And then popping out all the crates. I thought I'd just get all the crates out in one go, and then I can do like the other things after, because it's obvious which ones are the crates, because one side's got that kind of blue metal to it. Also popped out the lever wheel kind of thing. I guess that'll come into play later on in scenarios, but we've got like little levers. This little one here you can just add to a flat wall as well if you wanted to, or just change the build, I guess. You got some barricades. I did have to keep referring to the reference for that because they do slot in very particular ways, but once I got it, it was pretty easy because you've got like some angles here, some angled cuts. So one goes in one way like so, and then the other one, which has got like the jutting spear or something sticking out one side, goes in a very angled way like there, but it all fits in nicely. You can do them sideways or upwards, it doesn't really matter. I built this one thinking it was 2, but later on I found another piece. There's actually 3 parts for this, so my bad for not spotting that. Table, very nice. Again, just slides on. Got a couple of legs that you just stick on. So they just slide on, quite straightforward. As you can see, all the legs. A little bit of a push here and there for some of them. And they've got like a little hook on them, so you can just hook them to a wall if you really wanted to. Well, I guess that's the intention really, is you hook them onto the wall. Why would they have it otherwise? And then it's the pillar. Again, like the Arcanists Table, very straightforward. You've got 4 little bits. I did make the mistake, there's one side that has like a little cut into it, which is for a sconce, if you wanted to. I did one with it on both, which was me being a bit daft. But yeah, you could do that. One thing that did throw me, I was like, what's this for? And then discovered later on I need to glue that on, so I'll come to that later on. But yeah, I used the same side twice on this, so you should use one of those per pillar, so you got a sconce on each pillar. But sod it, that one's got 2, but you can disassemble and rebuild it. And then we got the weapons rack. Again, a fairly straightforward build. Looking at the reference in the rulebook really helped with this as well, if you're not too sure, because you've got like little bendy bits that, well, fold down. But yeah, weapons racks. I love weapons racks. You know, one of my favourite things with D&D is searching weapon racks and getting some cool items off it. And then we've got a couple of tombs, very much like the Arcanists Table, pretty straightforward. Just put the bits in. This little bit here, again, will get glued on later on, if that's its intention. I assume so. Pretty cool. So next up is the crates. Fairly straightforward like some of the other builds. I mean, there's only a couple of sides to it. It's a crate, it's a box. But you've got the inside, which has like that blue, I think it's velvet or some kind of material. Maybe it's metal, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a matter of just piecing those bits together. You've got tops and bottoms. What I didn't realise, again, this was like when I was first building, you've got a lid, but you also have like that little blue square that kind of glues on the inside of the lid, which then makes it like a flusher fit when you close the lid. And then obviously you need to glue the bottom in as well. That was something I wasn't expecting. The bottom is a bit loose than I imagined, but again, you can just glue that, and once they're built, you can just store them later on in your box. It's not a big problem really. Over to the chest, you've got a nice floppy lid, really like that, like it can close and open. Big fan of that. And very much like the crates, you've got those little sections where you just build it. It's just like a slightly longer crate really. And there you can see with the bit glued in, it's a nice flusher fit. So just a little dollop of super glue. Did the same for the crates as well. Again, it was pretty straightforward. Keeps the lids nice and flush when they're closed. And I also glued the bit on the top for the pillars as well. And that little piece that goes on the tomb adds a little bit more, I guess, texture to it, which is quite nice. I did like that. But yeah, minor gluing. So now I'm just going to look at some of the extra stuff. So I've got these baggies. I'm just going to write what the loot items are. So you get lots of different loot in this game, which is really cool because you can search in tombs and crates and stuff. But it does suggest like having them separately. So that's what I assumed the baggies were for. Eventually, I suppose as you play, it makes more sense. You get used to the items. But what I didn't realise at the time was the flip reverse of it. So one side it has like the names like this is rare, this is common, this is uncommon, etc. But when you flip it round, actually it's a lot easier to identify because the things that are rare are in blue text, the things that are like uncommon are yellow, common's green. So actually if you do need to like change the things later on, that's fine. You get some little markers here which are portals, and you also get some illusion ones as well. I love these character dashboards. Oh my god, this is like one of the coolest things ever. Maybe I'd need to get out more, I don't know, but putting your character card on there to pick your character and then picking what class they are. All these classes are reversible. Then you have slots for your inventory. Oh my god, this is genius. You also get a bunch of pegs as well. You got like pink for skill, green for health, blue for magic, and then black, which are for the baddies, for the dread counter, which you'll look at in a mo. But yeah, you get a bunch of those, quite a lot. On the character cards as well, you got some little bits you can punch out, which are really cool. So if you have like armor, you can put a place there for armor. Those 2 slots are for things that are yellow, so like the armor or like the shoes or hats or whatever. So you can actually wear stuff that's wearable. You can't wear a sword, but you can wear a hat. True facts. And yeah, look at these classes, all reversible. So many different classes, so you can pick what you want. The ones with the little spell books are for wizards, and then you have the little NPC dashboards, which are slightly smaller because they do less in the game, I guess. And then you got your Doom tracker. So it's reversible. So depending on, I think, the games or whatever, will tell you what kind of adversaries you'll get, which is quite cool. You've got some wandering beasts there as well. They're the little NPC dashboards. Little card there for telling you what all the monsters do. And then you've got your deck of cards. These are your event cards. There's like 50 in there, so you get a lot. This thing's quite cool. So this is like when you're like stopping at an inn, you can store some stuff in the inn. You've got a little record thing. I guess that's what the draw out marker's for. So I looked at building a bunch of items and furniture. So now what I'm going to do is just build a board, just go through like some of the process. I'm just going to follow the tutorial version. So fairly straightforward, just using the image. Although I was like looking at the image and going, oh, this door must go here and this must go there. Actually, it does say in the book that it doesn't matter what wall piece you use, as long as it's this door. But the actual artwork on the actual walls isn't relevant. So it's up to you which ones you use. So this is where all those little clips will come into play. You get little cross sections, you get little T sections, straights, ones at angles. So you can do all sorts of different, well, angles really, for your board builds. But I'm just going to, like I said, follow what's in the box for the tutorial and just, yeah, assemble that. I can't explain how enjoyable this was. Yes, there was a little bit of checking here and there, just make sure I got the right bits in the right place and whatever. But the fact that I know I can take this apart, it all went together really smoothly. There was no sort of like stressing out, nothing that wouldn't like fit in properly. It was just a lot of fun. Really enjoyed the process, and yeah, definitely looking forward to making my own little dungeons and just looking at the actual campaign and the game itself. Initially when I saw this, I was like, I'm going to use this for my own games, but I'm actually really keen on playing the game itself with the characters you get. But yeah, fairly straightforward little build, nothing too complicated. Tells you to use like a certain section of the board for the actual tutorial, so I'm just using that section now. Place those bits in. And then you do get all these little flying bits, like extra bits of ruin that stick off the edge that just clip in. And although the tutorial doesn't show that, I just wanted to add them in because I thought it looked quite cool. Adds a bit of texture to the walls. So I just did that. I just went and added all these little extra little flying buttress bits in, sort of ruin sections, chuck some sconces in there because I could. And I was having fun. I was having the best time, really enjoying it, got right into it. And as you can see, just adds a little bit more flavour to it. Stuff you can hide behind if you really wanted to. If you've got like missile weapons, you want to shoot some baddies and, you know, make use of cover. But yeah, great little set. Nice little build. Certainly for this tutorial version. Sorry about my bald head getting in the way. But yeah, really, really cool. Big fan. And then it was just a matter of just dropping in some of the items it suggests, well, furniture. So you've got a tomb and you also have a crate to place in as well. So pretty cool. Oh, and a chest. I did forget that because I didn't see it in the artwork, but on the map it shows where the chest goes. Right, the next bit is putting like, if you're doing the scenario, I'm not going to do the full scenario, I'm just getting a little bit of setup ready, but it suggests that you put like certain things in some of the items, like the chests and the crates, and then you just like pick a few of the tutorial items and then place them in, and then you can discover those later on, which is pretty cool. And then the rest go in the bag. That's where the chest went, by the way. And then, yeah, it's just like you got your character card there. You got like these little areas for your baddies to go, the little areas for your adventures to go. Those little numbers on the patrol points, you'll roll a dice. There's a magic dice, which I haven't really covered in the footage, I'm afraid. It's just one. It's got like things that happen when you do magic. But it's also got numbers on it, like a D6. So you'd roll that, and that's where the baddies would appear on their patrol. These are some like little magic cards. So she is got the Rook magic, whatever that means. I'm sure it's pretty cool. This is your dread board. This tracks the amount of like what baddies turn up at what point. So when you pass one threshold, you go into the next. And then for some you roll a dice. Others it's like every turn a certain baddie turns up. And as you can see, it progressively gets worse and worse until like all the baddies turn up at the end. Like every single baddie possible. Just throw them all in there, Peachy. Your dice, pretty cool. You roll a blue one, and then for attack. Then if you have like 2 attacks, you roll a blue and a red. If you have 3 attacks, you roll a blue and 2 reds, but you always roll the blue, from what I understand. Now, from a game mechanics point of view, everyone gets 2 actions, so you can like move. All characters, well, pretty much most move 4, and then you can use another action to like search or whatever, see what you find, stick them in your inventory. Again, you can only carry what's in your space. I like that. So you might find lots of stuff, and you might have to leave things behind. You can move once, or you can move twice. It's entirely up to you. And then for baddies, you roll a dice. Sometimes it might have a hand on it. They come from the grave points, so some are designated on the board. If they have like heads, they come from patrol points. And then that varies on your doom tracker, your dread meter, what you want to call it. But yeah, there's a fair few rules, but not intimidating. And that tutorial takes you through step by step, which is really, really nice. But yeah, really like it. First impressions, it's a big yes for Peach. But me, being me, I thought, you know what? I'm going to make my own board, and I did. This is, I had to go at different angles. I just placed pretty much everything on possible that you got in the set, apart from a couple of wall sections. But I had so much fun building that. But yeah, I mean, this is like, in this game, obviously some of the corridors are larger, some of the rooms are larger, but you can just go mad building what you want. But packing away, really straightforward. You can just unclip everything. I didn't damage a single piece. They're quite firm, but they come out quite easy as well. Which was really, really, really good. I do like those angled ones. You get some really interesting sort of shapes when you're using those. But as I alluded to earlier, you got those like sheets, those like white bits of card. That's what they're for. Give you a little grid so you can just store everything, even those things you built. So I left most of it built, but you know, there we go. But it all goes away beautifully. Everything's got a home. Yes, granted, I'll mention later in the criticism side, I could have done with some more baggies to put extra tokens in, but I've got loads at home. I'm lucky enough to have that. But it just all goes together neatly, and it all goes back in the box. And we can't forget the neoprene mat. You get a neoprene mat. I was not expecting that. But me being me, I have to find an excuse to use the scenery for other things. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get a bunch of my Frostgrave miniatures and stick them in this environment. And you know what, I'm really pleased with it. It works really well. Yes, it's not like painted scenery like I'm used to. It's cardboard, but I actually really like the feel of it, how it looks. I can pretend they're venturing deep in the bowels of the catacombs of Shadowgrave, created by my own little realm in a previous video. But yeah, it was really good fun just building this and just then taking some photos of my own figures in the settings as well. Really like that. Again, you can do what you want with your own stuff. You're only limited by your own imagination, I guess. So Maladum, it will appear, is one of my new favourites when it comes to dungeon crawling and fighting in dungeons. Like its counterpart, the sci-fi version, Core Space, I suspect it will get some add-on sets and be well supported, which is great. But it's just the scenery. There's just so much customizability with that scenery. It's incredible. Mostly because of its modularity. A big fan of being able to customize my rooms and corridors and stuff and change it, pack it away. Hero Quest is good, especially the new version. I like Hero Quest, but this blows that out of the water. And for something that's less than 100 quid, I mean, it's like 109 euros. It's like, what, 91 quid, something like that. I'm massively impressed for the price point, what you get. Yes, some people argue that it's card. It's not very durable. Plastic's better. Probably. But for what you get and the durability of the card, I think it's pretty good. I'm well impressed. And I've started looking at a lot of the other battle system stuff as well. I've got a whole load of terrain to build for Mordine Frostgrave, among many other things. So I can probably incorporate those together. And there's going to be a new set that will be teased, maybe, which is the dungeon set. I'll put it up on the screen. That looks really good as well. So that's like a lot of interior stuff. So a bit more like walking up stairs and like high rise bits and stuff. So that's really cool. And then you can incorporate that with this set as well as other things. So it's really, really good. Big fan. However, it feels only right to throw in some criticisms. Not many. I really stretched, if I'm honest, to find criticisms here. I guess one of the standout ones was a little bit of gluing involved here and there. It's not a huge criticism. It's minor, super minor. But some people might not be prepared for that. Some people might not expect that. So that did throw me a little bit, actually, when I was like building the things going, how does this go together? How does that go together? I just assumed I'd glue it. It doesn't say anywhere, but then, you know, there's the YouTube videos that you can watch, which I'll put some links in here. But I glued them and it's fine because they're really low level things like gluing the inside of a bit of crate to the crate lid so it closes properly, or the bottom of the crate, because I won't break them down. I'll keep them as they are. And especially having those white strips, those white card strips that then adds the layer up inside the box, so then you can just store all your bits and bobs. That was really good. Wasn't expecting that. It was a good surprise. So the other one is baggies. Now you get some baggies in the set. I think that's great, but you get lots of pegs and different coloured pegs, and you get loads of tokens, various amounts of different tokens. I think 4's not enough. The amount of, at least from my point of view, possibly in my OCD, of like organising that a bit better, because I used all the baggies for organising my items, like rare ones, common ones, uncommon ones, and then I had to find some extra ones. Certainly with the bags for the pegs, because once you tear them, that's it. So I don't know if the baggies were designed for them or not. That's also unclear. So I guess I have a lot of bags at home, so it's not a problem to me, but not everyone does. But it's a small thing. like I said, it was a stretch to come up with some like, if I was to do things differently, it'd be cool to do this, it'd be cool to do that. So that's literally it. And as always, a massive thank you to you beautiful people for watching the video. Big thank you to Battle Systems as well for reaching out and sending me the set. Thank you for sponsoring the video as well. Chances are I probably would have stumbled across this anyway and would have done it for a video, but you know, it worked out well for all of us. So I'm a big fan of this set, and I only talk about things I like, so I like it. And of course, I can't go and leave a video without saying a big thank you to all my supporters on Patreon. You too can look at joining the Patreon as well. Obviously, we have the usual like Discords, and then I get early access to videos. Try and get early access to videos. Sometimes it doesn't always work out that way because Premiere Pro is being a bit mean. And of course, I do my one-to-one tuitions, feedback, and this, that, and the other. So do consider checking it out. There's links in the description. But I'm going to go off now and do some role play in my own dungeon. That's what I'm going to do. Do some role play in my own dungeon that I've made. Hang on. Does that sound like something else? Nah, it'll be fine. No one can take that the wrong way, right?